Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Truth and All podcast. I'm your host, Chris Chastain. As always, quite a bit to get into today. We've got some preseason football to talk about, a little bit of talk on the Browns, a lot of topic on them in general. All week about between the hard knocks and the preseason overreaction, possibly. We'll talk about that in a little bit. And we're gonna talk about them, and then I want to talk about the Patriots starting Tom Brady for a whole half in the second game. What kind of signs that could show, and a few other things a few other highlights, of what we saw this weekend, and still to come because we still have Broncos, Bears, and one other Seahawks and Chargers tonight. This one's recording about time that the Broncos and Bears would be starting. I think they were going to start at 9:05, so yeah. But anyway, let's kind of get started today, and we're going to start with the Browns and Bills game that aired last night. I'll go ahead and say this before we move any further. I've watched about half of this game. A little under half of it. After about half, I had to go run next door for a little while, so I was not able to watch the whole game. Unfortunately, not next door, but across the street. So, but yeah. Anyway, that doesn't matter. I wasn't able to watch this whole game, but I did see both of the Cleveland quarterbacks play some. I watched Tyrod Taylor a drive or two, and I watched Baker Mayfield a drive or two. Here's where I'm going. I don't think, look, and I said this on Twitter. I think the Baker Mayfield should be sat for 8 games, and I stand by what I said. And I said at least 8 games, maybe a little less, depending on how Tyrod plays in the regular season. But look, my thing is not the way Baker Mayfield played, because he played pretty well with the second string versus the second string defense. I do want to keep that in mind, that this was not first string defense that he was playing against, but you do have to give credit. He was playing with the second string offense, so can't really take anything away from that. That's really not a factor in this for me, but the fact is he did not play so great that Tyrod Taylor shouldn't have the job week 1. I mean, he played good, and he played very well, but Tyrod Taylor's played as well. He's probably put up equal amount of, stats to me are meaningless when it comes down to this. But even if you go down the stats and the way you see him play, he's played as well, and he deserves to start week 1. And I'm just about sitting rookie quarterbacks at least for the first half of the regular season, if you have a talented, decent veteran quarterback, like I think Cleveland does. And Tyrod Taylor, you think about it, he took the Bills to the playoffs last season, and he played decently most of the season, in my opinion. He had a few little hiccups, and like when they put Nathan Peterman in and took him right back out because he was absolutely terrible in that one game, and we'll talk about that in a minute too. I was going to talk about it the other day. Well, I think I did talk about it a little the other day, but I want to say it again, just because I know people putting that top of their mind probably, but I think Tyrod Taylor, when you consider both the games, the way he played, let's look at the first game and compare them. Okay, so we have the first week's stats now. Just looking at the stats too, and I did see more of this game. But Tyrod Taylor was 5 of 5 for 99 yards, 1 touchdown. But Baker Mayfield played pretty decently too. 11 of 20, 212 yards and 2 touchdowns. I would say I'm more impressed with what Baker Mayfield did, just because it's his first game. But I just think generally Tyrod may have had you can't really compare. It's hard to compare this game because Baker played a lot more than Tyrod Taylor did, so it's hard to compare. But I was more impressed with Baker for that reason. But generally, I can't put that into play. I just can't do it. 5 of 5. Who knows if Tyrod had played 2 drives, if he would have gone 5 of 10. Don't know. Can't predict that. But I can say what I saw, and that Tyrod Taylor played pretty well in game 1. We're talking about game 1 here. Now, we'll look at the Giants defense. The Giants defense is decent, so I'm not going to discount that. I'm not going to talk about the defense here. As far as what Tyrod Taylor played, Baker Mayfield same thing, second strings. He played with second string offense, but he played against second string defense, so I'm not really too worried about that. And earlier I kind of put it into play, but I kind of let that go just because it's quite meaningless. Generally, just because he's a rookie, and like I said, what he did impressed me. But with that being said, to conclude this, Tyrod Taylor's played good enough. He's played good enough to where he should be starting the regular season. I could see if he was shaky and Baker Mayfield was playing great, playing very good like he is right now. I could see starting Baker, but right now I'm saying Tyrod. Now, that does not mean I can't change my mind in games 3 or 4, or maybe depending on what I see on Hard Knocks. Now, that doesn't play as much of a role for me as the game does, but maybe it plays a little bit of the role. It kind of gives me the feeling of which which one's gonna start or not. But I still, like I said, I'm siding with Tyrod for at least the first few games, and he will start. But on the other side of that, opponent for this week was the Buffalo Bills. We talk about Nathan Peterman. He played pretty well. I saw more of him than I probably saw Baker Mayfield. So, just because he started the first quarter and Josh Allen started the other half. But all in all, I can say Nathan Peterman played all pretty good. He didn't. I was gonna say a lot better, but he didn't really play that terribly in their other game. I guess whoever they played, I can't remember, the Panthers. But he didn't play. He didn't play that bad. He was 9 of 10, 8 of 10 today. It's the same difference to me. I can't complain about how he played. But I do want to remind people one more time. I know he had that 5 interception game last season, but it's time to just let that go. It really is, to a certain degree. Now, if we start seeing problems, whatever, then we can start kind of questioning everything. We can start we're going to have that back in our mind just because you can't help not have it back in your mind. But for now, I'd say we're just going to we're not going to slide it under the carpet, but just kind of put that on. It's just time we can't let that judge who should be starting in the regular season this season, given how well Nathan Peterman has played in the first 2 games. Now, Josh Allen played okay, but I don't think either him or AJ McCarron should be starting. I think this is Nathan Peterman's job to lose. He can still lose it. I mean, it is a possibility that Josh Allen or AJ McCarron could play historically well, and Nathan Peterman loses that job. But I think that's what it's gonna take. Now, let's move forward to our next game that I wanted to talk about. The second biggest game, repeat of the Super Bowl between the New England Patriots and the Philadelphia Eagles. In this game, the Patriots won 37-20 in the game that you would think, or that we could actually make a point that the Patriots were trying to win. It felt like that to me. It was quite strange to me that Bill Belichick started Tom Brady for the whole first half. I think they finally took him out at the end of the third quarter, at the end of the second quarter, which is kind of crazy to me. Or it may have been mid. It may have been. It was kind of weird because I'm pretty sure they put. I'm thinking. Hold on a second. I'm pretty sure they put Nate Sudfeld in for part of the second quarter, but more or less Tom Brady played a whole half, which doesn't make any sense. It's just I don't think Tom Brady. Honestly, there's two players that maybe shouldn't even play the preseason at all, and if they do, one game. Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers. Two players that should not touch the field for more than a half the whole preseason, in my opinion. They're so good. They're so proven that they don't really need to start more than a half or maybe two halves at most. I'm gonna say one half, but it's just especially with Aaron Rodgers more, being with him having the injury last season and blah blah blah. I don't think he should start at all. Just because you want to keep him healthy as long as possible, and putting him on the field honestly endangers his health, and it really does. Just because we've seen he's had a little bit of bad luck the past 4 or 5 seasons. 2 injuries that have taken him out for basically the whole rest of the seasons. So it's just easier to keep him out. Tom Brady, the same thing, just with his age. Just keep him out. It doesn't make any sense to me. It's kind of it's almost funny that they would play him a whole half. Now, if they didn't play him any in the second half, which would have really made me think they were trying to win this game, but I still think it was just very strange that he played him basically a whole half. And next week we'll really know, because if Tom Brady does not play or plays one quarter or a half a quarter, then they were trying to win this game. I really believe that they would be trying to win this game, just because they lost the Super Bowl. It makes sense. It really adds up that they would be trying to win this game, which is stupid just because it's a preseason game. Maybe they're going to play at some point in time. It's kind of weird. Most Super Bowls get a rematch in the regular season. This one does not. The last Super Bowl, there's going to be no rematch, which is, like I said, kind of weird in a way. But no rematch. And I guess that really, it kind of takes away from me is the fact that there is no rematch and they were trying to get revenge. But this is a meaningless revenge, because we know the Eagles were not starting their players that they would normally start. And excuse me, I was looking at the wrong stats. Tom Brady did play the whole half. They finally took him out in the third quarter. I was looking at the wrong thing for a second there. So, can't say Tom Brady played a whole half. So yeah, that really kind of proves it for me. But like I said, it takes a little less now that I know they don't play in the regular season, which is, like I said, kind of strange. It really is. I guess it just wasn't time. It was just kind of strange because most teams play each other during the regular season. If each team made, you know what I'm saying, if they made it, they play in the regular season, but not the case here. But yeah, that's really my thoughts. Patriots really tried to win this game. Doesn't matter. I guess if it makes them feel better, whatever, but I don't think it should, just because of how meaningless it is. If the Eagles starters aren't playing, it just doesn't add up. It really doesn't. Now on to the next rookie quarterback that I want to talk about. The second, probably second or third best rookie quarterback. Even though this is starting to show to be a pretty good rookie quarterback class, with Baker Mayfield, and we're going to get into Sam Darnold right now. His team lost to the Washington Redskins 15-13. Score is meaningless. Like I said, I just say the score just because kind of get the hang of it. kind of get the hang of saying score just because there's a lot of score in the NFL and regular season. More like a preseason for me too, in a way, as far as that goes. But he was 8 of 11. I didn't see any of this game. I wasn't at home. I wasn't watching, unfortunately, because it looked like to be a good game. Washington won in the last second on a field goal. I did watch like the final minute, but I said that was pretty meaningless. But I would say, even not considering this game, I think Sam Darnold's going to be the only rookie quarterback starting this season. And the reason I say that is just because I don't think it looks like the Jets are going to trade Teddy Bridgewater, which is kind of, in a way, unfortunate because Teddy Bridgewater is showing to be healthy now. He's showing to be healthy, and he's playing pretty well. I would say on the borderline of very good. But I don't think he's going to be. I don't think he's going to be a Jet, just because. And look, it's really because I think they're going to get more value out of him by trading him. Being that they have Sam Darnold, that's really why I think they'll start Darnold, just because by then I think he'll be the only option, and they'll put Josh McCown as a backup, which I, in essence, can't disagree with. In a way, but in a way, I don't think they should trade him, even if you do start Sam Darnold, because I like Teddy Bridgewater over over Josh McCown. Why not keep the better quarterback just in case Sam Darnold struggles, which is highly possible, and it's highly likely actually. If he struggles through 2 or 3 games, then you put Teddy Bridgewater in, but. Like I said, it's looking like Teddy Bridgewater might be. There's serious talks about Teddy Bridgewater being traded, and in a way, like I said, if you can get good value out of Bridgewater, then fine, trade him. I guess if your team generally gets better, because the Jets aren't competing for anything this year, I don't think. I think they're competing to be a 6-win team, maybe 5. Similar to last year. The best they could go is 8-8. I really believe that, and that's pushing it. That's really pushing it. And I think trading Teddy Bridgewater it has its goods, it has its bads. It means you trust Josh McCown as a backup, which it's not the worst thing, but it's just not something that I would trust in. Now let's talk about the Washington Redskins real quick. Not much to talk about here, but the big blow to Darius Guice and being injured in game 1. They're gonna have to find his replacement, which looks like it's gonna be Sam Pierman. I can't think of his name right now, but it looks like he's gonna be the replacement. They had Martez Carter in for a few more carries, and those two. It looks like to me Pierman's going to be the starter. I really believe that. I'm pretty sure, if I remember right, he did break like one pretty good run in that first quarter. Even though that one run's not, to me, one run's meaningless. Like I said about Saquon Barkley, just because he broke one run doesn't mean he should be qualified as an immediate success. Let's calm down. It's the preseason, but yeah, I think he'll be the starter. Carterman or Rob Kelly will be behind him, probably, and that'll be that. Like I said, not a lot to talk about here. Something about the Washington Redskins I'm not particularly thrilled with. The fact that I just don't see the weapons that other teams have. That kind of worries me. Even on like receivers and tight ends, they don't have the weapons that some teams have. They have some, but not nearly enough, in my opinion, to be competing in this division. So that's really why I say there's not much to talk about for the Washington Redskins. They'll be between 6-10 and 8-8 team. They'll upset some people, but all teams, and you have most teams except for last year's Cleveland Browns or a team like that, that's going to upset somebody major normally. But let's kind of move forward. Let's kind of, like I said, move on to our next topic. We're going to get into Josh Rosen. The Arizona Cardinals beat the, if I can think for a second, the New Orleans Saints 20-15. I did not watch this game either, but we're going to just kind of throw some analysis out for Josh Rosen, more based off the lines of stats. I think I did catch a couple of seconds of this, maybe a couple minutes, but nothing major. Josh Rosen's Cardinals, like I said, won 20-15. Like I said earlier, stats to me don't mean that much, but he went 10 of 16, had 107 yards and a touchdown. In my opinion, he played decently. He played like the second best rookie quarterback in the draft. Maybe Sam Darnold's better, but it's close between Darnold and Rosen. I think it's really close. And then you can drop Josh Allen down lower. I don't really particularly. I don't think he's that great of a. So far, I don't think he's that great of a quarterback. I just don't. I know his stat lines haven't been awful, but they're not that great. Not great enough to say he's the second or third best rookie quarterback in the league. And I'm gonna hop over here and check our comments out, see if we got any comments. Don't, but anyway, Rosen will still be on the bench. I have no doubts about that. He would have to play spectacular to get the starting job, straight into game one. But Sam Darnold's just, when he's healthy, he's normally just too good he's too good for a rookie quarterback to come in and take his job. That's what I believe. And that's where I stand with him and his starting job. But I think just the way Sam Darnold is and the way he can get injured so easily, I think he's going to be in by game 8. I really believe that. There's no competition for the backup job either. There's really no competition here, even though there's claims out there, a few claims that there is some competition. There's not. The competition was none. It just wasn't. And let's go ahead and hop over to the New Orleans side, just because it makes my take about New England look a little even odder than it did. And as far as those people listening live, my take was that New England was trying to actually, and thought there was meaning into winning that game in New England against the Eagles, because for Super Bowl revenge, which there really was none, because the Eagles didn't start anybody of importance. I just thought that was kind of funny that they actually, and this is actually more evidence because Drew Brees did not play one down. He did not play one down the whole game. Typically, I don't even think Tom Brady would play one down, and if he did, he'd play one drive. Drew Brees didn't play it down, but Tom Brady, if you're going to play him one drive, not one half. I think that's way too much. I believe that, and I stand by that. And I think they were trying to win that game. That's really the only thing I was going to say about New Orleans. It's just more proof to show that, or more evidence to make you wonder if the Patriots really cared about winning that, or really, truly were interested in Super Bowl revenge, and whatever that is, in a preseason game where the Eagles didn't start anybody. But yeah, that's besides the point. Yeah, he looked good. I'll go back to Tom Brady real quick. For those listening live, yeah, he looked good, but he's playing against second string guys. I expect him to look good. So no meaning there. On to our next topic on hand. I want to talk about Calvin Ridley real quick in the Falcons-Chiefs game. Ridley looked really good. I wasn't surprised, but I just have to say real quick, this is more of a side topic. Calvin Ridley was the star of that first quarter. He was the star of the offense in that first quarter for the Falcons. And the offense looked pretty good. I'm not as disappointed in week 2 of the preseason. Even though they lost, I don't care about that, though. If they go 0-4, we've seen it the last 2 seasons. They've gone 1-7 in preseason. And let's see what happens in the regular season. So, not too much to worry about there. But yeah, I just wanted to point out Calvin Ridley, the way he played. I was impressed. Generally impressed by him and the way the offense played in that first quarter. I think I watched I watched basically the whole thing of that game, or of the offense, the Falcons starting offense. Wish I'd gotten to watch a little more, but it's whatever. Not that big of a deal. It's just preseason. Regular season won't be missing that much. I hope not to. I have no plans to miss that much of particularly the Falcons games. But for me, Sundays it's just football Sundays. Basically, watching at some point basically all 3 games. So yeah, there we go. Just a little side topic. The last point I have here to talk about that's fairly major for preseason was Blake Bortles. Oh boy. I don't even know where I want to go here. I really don't. I don't think Blake Bortles played that well. I was not impressed at all. He should have played better. He really should have. But that's what I expect out of Blake Bortles. Barring last season, he was a bad quarterback. And it's hard to get people to understand this, but his stats were terrible seasons before. They were under average. I won't say terrible, but they were. He's not a good quarterback. His offense makes him look a little better. Last season he looked a little better, but I'm sorry, it's just the truth. Maybe he'll prove me wrong one day, but right now he hasn't proved me wrong at all. Checking the comments real quick on the live stream. But yeah, that's really the one thing out of a veteran guy that stood out to me. Blake Bortles is Blake Bortles. And I'm not changing my mind about that. And we can even go back and look at his game 1. I can't remember if he played at all. I don't think so. I don't know. I think he might have. He should have. He did play. He was decent. Going based off stat lines, because I did not see him in week 1. He was 6 of 9 for 53 yards. Yeah. Okay. He can look. He's an okay quarterback when he wants to be, but more times than not, just based off of the past 4 seasons, he's just under average. He's just an under average, regular guy quarterback. He's in the Eli Manning range, a little better, a little younger. That's the only reason he's a little better. Yeah, I think that pretty much covers our topics for today about the preseason. Preseason week 2 was pretty good. Still not over. It's pretty much over. Got 3 games left. Watching now, or not watching now, but looking now, the score for the Bears and Broncos, 5-0 Broncos. Case Keenum playing pretty well. Good sign for Eric and every other Broncos fan, mainly pointing him out, over-exaggerating and overrating the preseason, overrating the game one. I saw his tweets the other when that game was going, and he was talking about the quarterback situation was, if I remember right, it was fairly bad. I can't remember what he said, but it had something to do with that. He wasn't confident in the quarterback situation. Mr. Case Keenum guy. He was a Case Keenum guy in Minnesota, but now he's in Denver. Don't like him so much, but I still think Case Keenum's a good quarterback. I just think we got to give him a chance and give him more than one game and wait and see what happens. Really, that's my thoughts there. The other game going right now. There's more than one game going right now, but the Bengals and the Broncos, the Bengals and the Cowboys. I was impressed what I saw by Dak Prescott, by the way. Pretty impressive considering what weapons he has. I think Ezekiel Elliott was sitting the whole game. So generally, I was impressed by the way Dak Prescott played, and same with Jameis Winston. Jameis Winston lit it up today. He had a touchdown to Deshaun Jackson, and I was impressed with Jameis Winston. If he could play like that every week, I don't know if he's gonna play like that one week or be suspended the next, or be getting in trouble on the off field. Excuse me. I don't know. It's a week by week process for that. And then we'll get into, let's see, the last game. Just go ahead and cover all the games. What the heck? The last game that's going in the third quarter right now, 49ers and Texans. Jimmy Garoppolo playing nearly perfect in his 2 drives as a 49er. Good sign. Good sign for the 49ers. Keep on proving those doubters that say that the 6 games that he played were a fluke or were they're just not going to play as well this season. I think he's going to prove them wrong. I really do. I could see that team winning 10 games, 11 games maybe. That team's going to be pretty good in the second season. I really believe that. Just kind of tough. Kind of tough to tell what the weapons Jimmy Garoppolo has. I'm not thrilled with the weapons, but I still think there's a chance that they could do it. The last game I really wanted to talk about. The others, not much to talk about. The Oakland Raiders and the Rams. Derek Carr did not start. I had a sound in my ear. Derek Carr did not start, which to me made this game less meaningful than it even was before. EJ Manuel played pretty well, but it's the preseason, and really not a lot to talk about here. It's more really what we're talking about here is John Gruden's styles and coaching styles and stuff like that, which was pretty impressive. He ran at one play that was we haven't seen in a while. I'll just say that. The 2 double back splits, pretty different, I should say. Normally, I don't see. I just don't. Normally don't see it in this NFL age generally. But yeah, that was really the only thing that's all about in this game. I think he's gonna run a little more classic plays than I thought he was. I think there's a chance. I can't predict that right now. Just wait and see what happens. But yeah, I think that's all we got for today. What's coming up next? We have a podcast coming out soon, sometime this week. 1 or 2 podcasts are next week now. It's really going to be next week. One covering, hopefully, maybe the Pac-12. We may change up, and we did have Eric on for that podcast. It was going to come out Monday, but few little problems, a few little technical errors there. Our program did not meet the standards that I like to have on this podcast, including the other night, which I do apologize. That was not a great podcast. It was really not, and I'm not impressed with it. So we're gonna get that changed and fixed. I'm hoping maybe if I can salvage, we'll see what happens. Maybe we can see what happens with the Pac-12. I'm hoping to be able to get it out in the next day or two. If it's decent. If it's decent. If it's not decent, then it won't come out. I'm not gonna put two bad podcasts out. So we'll see. Also, don't plan on it happening again. I don't expect. Other than that, that's pretty much all I've got. Oh yeah. We're gonna do more live streaming of the podcast. Starting now. I guess now. We'll be live streaming the podcast at least 2 times a month, possibly 3 or 4, possibly every podcast. After this month, we're gonna stick to the 1 podcast a week. May do 2 every once in a while. Especially once the NBA season gets here. Love talking about the NBA. Excited to talk about it, but we got a long time. So starting September the 1st, we'll go back now with 1 podcast. Or we'll say 6 podcasts a month because we may do 2 in 2 weeks. Excuse me. So that's what you can expect moving forward. As far as that goes. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, or want to hear anything about the podcast, tweet at The Truth in All Pod or me at Chris_C01. Let me go ahead and say this real quick. Chris, if you hear the podcast and it sucks for some reason, just go ahead and tweet it out or tell me. I would rather know than not to know, or just let it go. Because typically, like on these, I don't go back and listen to them just because I listen to them while I'm talking. I might see if the audio's okay. But if you hear something that's wrong, let me know, and I'll keep it in mind or fix it or whatever needs to be done. But not saying anything. I'd rather, if you're a fan, you'll say something. If you're a fan, you'll say something. You really will. But other than that, that's all I've got. If you want to hear anything on the podcast, whatever topics you want to hear, tweet them at me. I may put out polls. I probably will. I may put out ones tomorrow for the next podcast. So be sure to vote on those or hear them or tweet me or whatever. And if there's a good discussion, I might talk about it on the podcast, or if there's something good to talk about. But that's all we got for you today. Thanks for joining me. Peace out. See you later.